Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. Happy start to our week. My name is Nina Means, Director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and we are getting started with our week here. We're so excited to be talking to you about our new workforce education series that's kicking off here in just a little bit. So I'm going to share with you some of the details. The only thing that I wish that I could do here that we typically do for doing like a Zoom or a webinar is to be able to share my screen with you. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to drop the bit.ly into the chat. We've got our team here working to help us out with that. But I'll make sure that if it doesn't pop up, that I'll definitely make sure that it gets shared with you before we close out. So what I wanted to do is to kind of go over some of the things that we've got going on. One of the things that's really important to us is that whenever the Fashion Incubator was started, it was actually started as a part of an interlocal agreement. Sounds a little fancy, but basically it just means that the City of Austin and ACC and Gerber Technology all came together and said, we need an incubator. We need somewhere where we help brands become brands. We need somewhere where we support people in our community to kind of learn and skill up. The college is, known for workforce. And so, we really want to help support the workforce development. The city works very closely with the college in order to do that kind of work. And so when they created the Fashion Incubator, they actually had two goals. So we're not just a small business opportunity. We really are also about workforce training. And so it might be a little bit unique to some who are working kind of the incubator accelerator space. But when you take an incubator and you put it inside of a community college that specifically works on helping people get jobs, this is really where we get kind of a two-pronged approach. And I would say we actually do a little bit more than that. However, our primary aim is to really focus on small business development and then to also support workforce development. And so as we're looking at these workforce opportunities, we're seeing a lot of people moving into the Austin area, people who worked in our business from across, the country, across the globe, moving into Austin, looking for work. And a lot of us, like if you've been around our industry for more than, 5 or 10 years, more than likely you've been working in a variety of different ways. There are a lot of ways to get things done. And so whether you use Excel, whether you use other paper-based templates, or if you're using all of your patterns are like neatly hanging up in your studio, all of these things are ways that we have typically worked to be able to get our product created whenever we're working in a digital space. And so it's really important to us to get a chance to share with you some of the things that we know have been around for a little bit of time, but have had a slower uptake in terms of being able to be integrated into the way that we do our work. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is to take some time to support our workforce and really look at ways that we can support you in terms of integrating more digitally. I think we all know what the pandemic has done to accelerate our digital integration. And so how key that is for people who are, well seasoned, know their business, know their industry like the back of their hand, to take themselves to the next level by integrating the technology to be able to work really from anywhere. We've seen the value of doing that. We have gotten behind our cameras. We've set up our own home studios of places to go live from. We've kind of learn the language of Zoom, so to speak. And so this is an opportunity for us to get a chance to support what we know is, trending and moving forward, and say, hey, there are some additional tools that can support you. So there's that component. The other component is we know, and I think we love fashion schools. We support fashion schools. I went to a fashion school. I would not be here where I am today without my fashion education. However, one of the things that we notice is that a lot of times what happens is when you go from your fashion education, you learn to pattern, you learn to stitch, you learn to do these things, you're not necessarily sure what the leap is from your fashion education to your job. So whenever you show up on your job, what they're going to ask you to do may be slightly different than what you're expecting to do every day working at a fashion industry job. So some of the things that we, we typically surprise people with, whenever you're working in New York or you're working in Los Angeles or some of these other places, a lot of times people have this idea about what it is that we do and how it is that we work. And I think, or what we look like when we're doing those things. It's not all the devil's wears Prada, it's not, all of this kind of glitz and glam all the time in order for us to do what we do. However, there are a lot of tasks and expectations of things that you learn very quickly as an assistant designer or an associate designer even, that you learn about how products is commercialized and how it goes through the supply chain, and what your part in that process actually is. And so one of the things that we do is part of our workforce educational series is really focused on understanding product lifecycle management and understanding that really from a technology standpoint. So we partner with Gerber Technology in order for you to learn about our YuniquePLM. So it's a product lifecycle management, and it basically takes you through a cycle of how does the product go from concept to readiness to purchase or readiness for prototyping in a digital setting. If you've worked in our business, a lot of us at large companies have used these pretty prolifically. So they've been around. It's not like it's like a brand new thing. However, they're still not being used at a lot of places, and it really accelerates your market. And typically, one of the reasons why it's not utilized is because it typically is very expensive. So if you're looking at places, that are much larger, like Fortune 500 fashion brands, they have this. This is something that they operate with because it helps them be so much more efficient with the volume of product they're working with. Smaller companies may say, oh, I don't really see the value because it's something that, I can't afford to invest in. It's not really something, it's not for me. And so to that, we'll say it actually is for you. And if you're looking at growing and scaling, you'll want to integrate something like this into your process. For the Gerber technology, so we do technical design with that as well. So you'll get the PLM course, technical design, which the primary output of technical design is for you to understand how to build a tech pack. You're going to understand the platform, and then you're going to understand how to build a tech pack. You can build a tech pack in a variety of ways. However, we are wanting to make sure that as we have more companies that are wanting to relocate to this area, a lot of them are asking us, do you have anyone who can do tech packs? Do you have anyone who can do tech packs? No one's going to move their tech packing team out here to Austin. They want to find people who are here, who have industry knowledge, who can tech pack like nobody's business. And so part of this workforce education series is to prepare you to be able to make these technical packages. If you've been watching our workforce, our workshop Wednesdays, you've seen us go through the steps of a technical package a few times now. And so what we're going to do is actually teach you how to make an industry-ready technical package in a 10-week course. And so if you're paying attention to our email list or to our post on social media, you'll see a link to our workforce education series that right now covers technical design, YuniquePLM, which is that product lifecycle management software I mentioned to you, and AccuMark 2D. And so the last one that's going to start this fall, so AccuMark 2D is going to be a deep dive on two-dimensional digital pattern design. So if you've been working on, patterning things, I can pattern by paper really quickly. However, I could pattern so much faster if I was working digitally, and I'd be able to keep the things that I'd done neatly cataloged, and to be able to build on those things in the future. And so I'm telling you, whenever you're talking about iterating your collections and kind of making modest tweaks or changing a sleeve opening or a sweep for a dress or, a hem detail, all of those things all of a sudden become that quick. And you're not spending all that time working on the pattern by hand and erasing and taping and paper and all the wastage that comes with that. And so you're going to get a chance to learn how to work digitally in AccuMark 2D for production-ready patterns. So if you're a designer, if you are an aspiring designer, these kinds of classes are for you because these are the skills that are hireable. People need people who can do this. And so that's going to take us through the end of this year. If you stay along with us through early 2022, you're going to get introduced to AccuMark 3D. That one has not posted yet, but we will be posting it shortly. After the winter break here at the college, we'll be starting the AccuMark 3D course. And if you guys have been watching any of these really exciting, like virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D try-on, kinds of things that are happening in retail right now, you're going to want to know how to do this. Like, I'm going to take the class. I was like, I want to know how to do this because I know that this is really the way of the future. And so rendering beautiful textiles in digital spaces on an avatar is going to be so key for designers to be able to work as product engineers. And so after you've done all of these things, you understand the life cycle of the product, you understand how to build a tech pack, you understand how to work with your two-dimensional patterns. Now it's time to actually sew that garment in the computer. So imagine being able to stitch all of your samples in the computer first. If you guys haven't seen, I believe that it was early last year, beautiful collection by Congolese designer Hanifa. And her entire collection was delivered on these beautiful, like, there's no avatar, but there was definitely a body inside of these beautifully digitally rendered garments. And I'm telling you, it sold globally. It was beautiful. It was striking. You saw how the garments were supposed to move. They walked a runway in a digital space. So there were no actual models. You could really just kind of transport yourself into the clothes. So I thought it was genius that they actually showed those garments moving digitally. You could kind of see the undulation of the fabrics. You could see the textures, the prints, anything that they were trying to communicate came through very clearly in their design, and it was masterfully done. And so what we want to do is to be able to introduce you to those kinds of platforms here at ACC. Guys, I'm telling you, this is a game changer. And if you can do this, if you can do it well, you're going to really transform your career. So we really want to see you guys apply for these courses. The cost is pretty nominal based on what you'll be receiving from it. They range between $100 to around $300, depending on which course you're taking. But I'm telling you, they're all worth it, and they will definitely level you up. So you want to take a minute to get a chance to register for the courses. You don't want to miss it. If you guys check the chat, the bit.ly for Fashion Workforce is where you'll find the courses that are currently available between now and the end of the year. So if you follow us on Workshop Wednesday, you'll get a chance to see a preview from our instructors who will be teaching those courses later this year. So thanks again, guys. The PLM course is starting June 2nd, and it's $100 for the 6-week course. So it's going to be a deep dive. Your instructor is very knowledgeable. You're going to love working with her, and it's 6 weeks starting June 2nd. So if you have any questions for us, feel free to reach out at fashion.incubator@austincc.edu. And if you're not following us already, check us out at ACC Fashion Incubator on all of our social media handles. Thanks, guys. We look forward to talking with you soon.